Merry meet Aquarius, Aquarius sun sign, rising sign, and or moon sign. This is a 2-week reading for all Aquarius starting today, the 31st of July, 2024. We are streaming live on YouTube and on Twitch. I'm Ariel Gatoga, and our moderators on YouTube today are the lovely Deline and the lovely Diane, and on Twitch, the lovely I Am Her Eminence. Thank you so much, moderators, and thank you to all of you Aquarius and friends of Aquarius for joining us today. And today I'm reading with the Tarot Maria Celia, and I've already purified with my homemade Van. This particular recipe is the one without verbena in it, and I've linked to my blog post on this, which has this recipe, as well as a link to how to purchase these cards in the video description of this video on my YouTube channel. This does go out. Oh, by the way, if you're watching us on a restream on YouTube and you don't want to watch the shuffling, just use the timestamps to get to the reading. This does go out to a lot of Aquarius, so if for some reason it doesn't seem like it's making any sense or doesn't apply to you, it's probably not for you. So disregard it. Move on. Instead, check out the zodiacal readings for your other signs, or remember that we also have a daily reading for all signs Wednesday through Sunday, and you can find the most recent of all those tarot readings on our website, arielscorner.com, arielscorner.com. Just click on the free online tarot readings link in that main menu. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. If you're on Twitch, please make sure you follow us on Twitch. You can watch on Twitch without any ads when you subscribe to us there. If you'd like to give a donation to this channel, you can do that by going to paypal.me/arielgatoga, paypal.me/arielgatoga, or if you're on YouTube, you could always just use a super sticker, super chat, or super thanks if you feel like giving a donation and you want to just stay on the platform. We appreciate your support a whole lot. And Aquarius, we appreciate you a whole lot for being here. Lots of places you could be right now. I'm so appreciative that you're taking some time out to listen to this reading, so I'm going to do my very best for you. That's why I'm shuffling so much. But I think this feels pretty good, so I'm going to give this deck a nice clean cut, and we're going to see what is in the cards for all you gorgeous Aquarius for the next couple weeks. I'm starting out with the 8 of coins, followed by the Devil, followed by the Emperor. Yay. Okay. Now, I like a good Devil card. The Devil card just is a nice reminder of what are you doing? What are you doing, Aquarius? No. It reminds us to look at what we're doing and how we're doing it, how we're living our lives. Are we being attached to outcomes? Are we being attached to certain things? Or are we letting things flow? And you're kind of grappling with that. Well, I'm letting it flow until it doesn't work out the way I said I wanted it to, then I'm attached. It's kind of how you are. And that's understandable, but it's missing the mark. It's missing the mark. You want to get Aquarius to the point where if things don't appear to be working out the way you wanted them, or if things don't appear to be hanging around that you're attached to, things are in flux or moving, rather than shutting down change, shutting down flow and saying, no, it must be thus, it must be thus, realize that is what happens to people that don't get the manifestations they want, is they shut them down because they don't look quite right, or they're not matching up with their preconceived notions, or they hang on to the things that do match up to their preconceived notions when they are afraid that those things are changing. Instead, what you're being encouraged to do is embrace the flow of it. Embrace the flow, and don't allow yourself to be stymied by your own ego mind that says, grab onto it, don't let it change, or it must be this, or it's not good enough. Any attachments. And just, if you just take a look at the illustration here about these two beings attached to this podium, and this very bored looking devil is like, ugh, until they stop being attached here, I have to stand here with my hand up. And it's so tiresome, and I wish they would move on. It's not, the devil doesn't even seem interested in this, but knows that this is its job, right? So just remind yourself, if things don't seem like they're moving, right, or you're afraid of things changing that you don't want to change, that your job is to invite the flow again. Your job is to disconnect from what you think it is. Don't worry about appearances, and that can be challenging, I know. Don't worry about appearances, and instead commit yourself to the flow. Now, the Emperor is who you are, because your life is your empire. This is not what you want your empire to be, attachment. You don't want your empire to be all about stagnant attachment and don't change, or make sure it's a certain way or it's not good enough for me. What you want is this 8 of coins, and that is that flow of and that flow is instigated and encouraged and nurtured by gratitude. So for you, this is the gratitude card. And so if something feels stagnant, instead of saying, what do I do to change it? What do I do to change it? Just find something to be grateful about it for. What words are you using, Ariel? It's just like, I'm just throwing out prepositions just until one sticks. Find something about the situation that you can, that makes you feel grateful. There's something. And when you find that gratitude, what it does is it encourages the flow. And when that energy starts to flow again, then those barriers just break up. Those bonds just dissolve, and this poor little demon here can finally go do something else and sit there with his arm up, waiting for you, waiting for you to get off it. He wants you to just get off it, right? Just get off. He wants to get off his pedestal, and can't get off his pedestal until you stop being attached to it, because that's what his role is right now, is to be there for you, reflecting back to you why that attachment isn't working, and what you really want is flow. So finding gratitude and finding that flow. Okay, enough of all that. Let's just open this reading up and see what is what. Gratitude and flow. 2 of Cups, 9 of Wands, and King of Wands. So, you're bound to be successful. And we've seen this in the last few readings, that no matter what you do, you're bound to be successful. Things are working out for you. They're going to continue to work out for you. You've set it up that way. You'd have to work really hard to stop that, and I don't see you doing that. But the only thing that I do see you having is some fatigue. And the reason you're having that fatigue is because of your judgment that things aren't the way that they need to be. I want you to try an exercise over the next 2 weeks, just to see if you can get that flow going better. When something in your situation doesn't look like it's the way it's supposed to be, rather than attaching yourself to what you think it should be, or if you're afraid that something that you love is changing, rather than attaching yourself to that thing so that it won't change, try a different tactic. Because what you want is flow, and that flow will bring about the change, wonderful change, and it's going to be an upgrade for you of some sort. But your tactic is going to be to tell the situation to be exactly the way it is. Just try that as an exercise. When you feel like, oh, I want this differently. I want this to be different. It's got to be different. Or this can't change. This can't change. Whatever is happening, I want you to just look at the situation and say, I want you to be exactly the way you are. I command you to be exactly the way you are. I want everything to be exactly the way it is. I'm grateful for the way it is. And a lot of people are afraid of that because they think, well, won't that kind of like solidify it? No, it won't. Because what you're doing when you do that is that you are inviting the flow of the energy back into the situation. And the natural state of things in this world, when they're healthy, is change. Nothing is stagnant. Nothing stays the same. So this idea of stagnation here, and just really tying yourself to certain things, and it has to be this way, it has to be this way, that is unhealthy. And when you just allow it to be the way it is, no matter what's going on, just say, I'm allowing it to be the way it is, or I'm commanding it to be the way it is. I want it to be exactly the way it is. What tends to happen is that looses your grip on it for just a moment. And then the natural flow starts to happen again. And you start to see things flowing. You start to experience that flow. And you start to realize that the flow knows what it's doing. That flow knows exactly what it's doing if you don't interfere. And as you let go of that interference by saying things like, I command you to be exactly the way you are. I want everything in my life to be exactly the way it is. You're inviting change. You're inviting the flow. And that kind of change and that kind of flow is always bringing you something better, is always bringing you an expanded version of what you want, because that higher flow is for your benefit. It's the same flow out of which you're created. It's the same flow out of which everything is created. And we start to recognize that negative changes or things like anything that is painful in this world is caused by stagnation, not by flow. It's caused by stagnant energy, by blocked energy. Just look in the body. Anytime there's a lack of circulation, there's a problem. Anytime there's a lack of circulation in the body, there's a problem. Well, that's just a microcosmic example of how everything in this world works. So when you notice things not working, just assume that there's some stagnation. And there's two tools that we've given you today on how to handle that stagnation. One is to find some gratitude, and two is to make sure that you tell it to be exactly the way it is. And both of those things are inviting that flow. And when that flow starts, then that stagnation breaks up and everything works out beautifully. And like I said, you're not headed towards anything other than success, but you don't need to delay that success with that stagnation. You don't need to delay that success. The other part of that you've been dealing with, but it looks like it's better, is you've been on your own case lately about not being fast enough or good enough, or you're not there yet, and what's wrong with me? You've been really on your own case about some things. So I want you to not only be grateful for the situations at hand, but I want you to try to learn how to be grateful about yourself. I'm grateful. What are you grateful for? Your mind? Isn't it nice that you have that mind? Your abilities? I mean, isn't it wonderful that you can do the things that you can do? I mean, what things can you find about yourself to be grateful for? And what about yourself can you just say, I command myself to be exactly the way I am? When you command yourself to be exactly the way you are, you're inviting flow. And then all of a sudden you start to change in a beautiful way. And the change that you have when you are in that divine flow, Aquarius, is changing into yourself, not becoming something else. You're letting go of the things that aren't you. You're letting go of the things that aren't authentic to you. And that change starts to become a revealing. And you start revealing to yourself and to the world more and more and more of who you are. And who you are is, like I said before, bringing you into great success, worldly success too. Okay, we've got an Emperor meditation and a Devil meditation that are indicated should you decide to do one of my meditations based on this reading. The Devil meditation is called Breaking Yourself Free from Fear, and for you that fear means stagnation. And the Emperor card has one called Claiming Your Royal Powers, and that's going to be a good one for you too, I believe. You can find those the link to those meditations, in the video description of this video on my YouTube channel. All right, Aquarius, like I said, you are headed for major success. Let's not delay that by being stagnant. And so it's really important that you let go, loosen your grip, and also loosen your grip on the way you think you should be, and allow yourself to be grateful. Allow things to be the way they are, and that's how you get them to change in a wonderful way. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today, and thank you so much to the amazing moderators, Delene, Diane, and I am Her Eminence. We'll see you in 2 weeks, Aquarius. Blessed be.